Hey guys, Ryan here, and in this video I'm going to cover what I believe are the best graphical mods available for Skyrim Special Edition in 2022. Now, all mods covered in this video can be installed for free from Nexus Mods, and you can install them using a mod manager. My personal recommendation would be to use Mod Organizer number 2. Now, this video is going to be organised into different mod sections. We're going to cover landscapes, NPCs, weapons and armours, objects and cities, weather and lighting, and then finally a recommended ENB to use. Now, all of this information can be found in the description of this particular video, but do bear in mind that some mods will require others to be installed in order to function correctly. All of the mods that I'm going to show in this video aim to have a minimum performance hit, assuming of course you want to play the game at the usual 60 FPS cap. And once I've covered all the mods, I'm going to show some gameplay footage, and it's going to be my character raiding a bandit camp. Now, this video has been recorded on Windows 11 using the Steam version of Skyrim Special Edition. However, to my knowledge, all of these mods can be used on Linux as well if you play Skyrim using Proton. So the first section we're going to cover is landscapes. We're going to start with a mod called A Noble Skyrim. Now, this is a mod that changes the texture of landscapes, dungeons, clutters, as well as architecture with some custom high detail models. Now, this does dramatically improve the appearance of mines, caves, ruins, interiors, as well as the objects that reside within. And also it covers external wooden buildings. Next on the list is Skyrim 202X. Now, like the previous mod, this one aims to change the textures of landscapes, terrain such as rocks and roads, and it also adds height to surfaces, so stones that are found in roads actually stick out the ground instead of just being a flat object. And the same applies to any rocks that have moss growing on them. Now, one thing just to bear in mind, I'm going to link to the downscale version of this mod, which has 2K and 4K textures, as the original mod actually uses 12K, which massively hurts performance unless you've got incredibly high-end hardware. So next up are two mods. The first one is Tamrielic Textures, and this is a mod that replaces all Skyrim landscapes with much more detailed versions, set in comparison to the original game. And you'll notice the difference on mountains and bridges, and if I'm honest, they look fantastic. The second one is Tamrielic Grass, and this focuses more on what's available on top of the landscapes. So for example, grass above ground, as well as underwater, and it also adds new plants of variety to the flora, especially in different regions of Skyrim. Now, the combination of both these mods does make the world feel more alive, and when paired with a modern ENB, when your character walks over the grass, it now interacts with them, moving and making a crunching sound. Now, one downside of using grass mod is that they do have a tendency to not always play well with static objects such as houses. In most cases, what you'll find is the grass will just be placed inside of the building or completely cover a road. However, the landscape fixes for grass mods fixes this problem, as what it will do is remove any grass that is found inside of buildings or when it's poking out of solid objects such as rocks. And it does this based on shadows. So in other words, if a shadow falls on an object, you'll find that grass will no longer be present there. Finally, in the landscape section, we have Skyrim 3D trees and plants, which, as you probably expect, replaces most trees and plants with 3D models that actually interact with the environment around them. So for example, when the wind blows through, you'll find that it starts swaying. And this actually pairs quite well with the weather mod that we're going to cover later on in the video. The next section we're going to be covering is NPCs, weapons and armours. And this is mostly going to cover reskins and texture changes to most of the NPCs, weapons and armours that you find in the game. The first mod on the list is Cathedral Player and NPC Overhaul, which dramatically improves the appearance of all playable races and NPCs in the game, and it makes their faces in particular look more detailed and less flat, and they have much better hair physics. Like the previous mod, RS Children's Overhaul replaces all the children characters in game with more detailed faces, instead of just the copy and paste varieties that are found in the original game. And as a bonus, it will also add some additional outfits and accessories for any male children. Continuing the trend of cathedral mods, the Cathedral Armory mod retextures the weapons, clothing and armours with far more detailed ones that are found in the original game. In fact, some weapons have different shapes and designs, whilst keeping it lore friendly. In fact, some armours also have more flair to them and better colouring overall. So the next section is Objects and Cities, and that starts with JK's Skyrim, which expands the existing cities and towns within Skyrim, and it adds new walls, objects and builders using existing game assets. So all the small towns found within the game have more about them, and the cities look grander than the original game. In most cases, towns have expansions and crafting tables or smelters not found in the original game, such as Riverwood now having a smelter, which makes sense since there's an iron ore mine nearby. The Skyforge in Whiterun now has all the crafting tables available to player, as well as weapon related decorations, making the forge look a bit more special than it is in the original game. The Static Mesh Improvement mod aims to improve the appearance of all Skyrim's architecture, clutters, furniture and landscapes, making them more detailed, lifelike and less flat than the original game. You'll mainly notice on wooden structures or objects that hang or are connected to buildings in such manner such as roof guttering or fencing. Following on from that is the High Poly project, which I suppose you could say is a spiritual successor to the previous mod. However, this time it covers more clutter objects, ingredients and food than the original mod. In fact, both mods worked well together and they complement each other as well. So the final mod section is going to be weather and lighting. Now, there's a ton of weather and lighting mods available for Skyrim, but I tend to find that lighting mods tend to be too dark in caves in order to be playable, and many weather mods dramatically change the atmosphere of the game. Well, obviously no pun intended there. Therefore, my recommendation would be to use Cathedral's Weather and Seasons mod, which overhauls the weather, lighting, as well as adds new effects like lightning and blizzards which are not found in the original game. To keep some consistency, it also pairs well with the EMB that's going to be discussed later in this video. Next up is Footprints, and this is a simple mod that adds footprints for NPCs and creatures whenever they walk over snow or ash. It's a simple mod, and it really just adds in something that should have been in the game in the first place. And the final mod on this list is Wet and Cold, and this is a mod that adds breath effects to NPCs and creatures when in colder locations in Skyrim, as well as visible raindrops, snow and dust on clothing when in rain, snow and ash storms respectively. In addition, race dependent, NPCs will not actively search shelter when it starts raining or snowing, or alternatively they'll equip hoods and face covers. But either way, once you've installed all of these mods, using what I recommend, Mod Organizer 2, make sure to run loot, which should organise your loadout correctly, and then launch the game and check everything works correctly. Now just bear in mind that you don't need to start a new game for any of these mods in order to use them. So at this point you've installed a wide range of graphical mods that have dramatically increased the appearance of the game, bringing it more in line with modern RPGs. However, the last step does involve you installing and using an EMB. Now, like weather and lighting mods, there is a ton of these available. However, I found that most of them do come with some form of performance hits. So on that basis, my recommendation would be to use the Ruby EMB SE for Cathedral Weathers, which is specifically designed to work with the weather mod that we installed earlier. Now this will be the most fiddly part of the process, and I strongly recommend that you follow the instructions carefully on the mod page. In particular, make sure you install everything that's listed in the hard requirements section, as well as the INI tweaks listed in Skyrim SE options menu and Skyrim prefs INI and Skyrim INI section. Now one good advantage of using Mod Organizer 2 is that these INI files can just be easily edited from within. Once this is done, you want to follow the preset installation section, and then you should be good to go. So now that the modded process is covered, let's learn into the game, and we'll show some modded Skyrim footage in action.
I'm right behind you. I'll guard you with my life. still here. It's an honor to serve you. I'll guard you with my life.
So, in conclusion, although Skyrim is now over a decade old at this point, with a decent selection of mods, you can make the game look modern, and you can up the graphical standard of 2022. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you did find this video helpful, then please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.